Naomi Savoie is a concept artist on Far Cry Primal. I've just got some great hands-on time with this game, and I have to say it lives up to hype and expectation. I've had a blast with this game. And I think what's so refreshing is that this was a big surprise. Nobody expected this game. How long were you kind of working on surprising the world with Far Cry Primal?
We've actually been wanting to do something set in the Stone Age for quite a long time, and we're all really kind of excited to work on it. So we were really excited to jump in full production, I think about when Far Cry 4 was ramping down after it released. And then we went on like full blown, and we were really excited to share that with the world.
I think what's really interesting about this game is that it drills down on a concept, and I think one of the things that you can kind of levy at the previous Far Cry games is that they're overwhelming. There's so much choice, there's so many weapons, so many vehicles, so many directions to go in. And does setting this in the Stone Age kind of focus everything and make the game design choices a little bit more specific and draw the player through some very specific design?
Actually, it gave us a lot of opportunity to bring some fresh new elements of gameplay to the players. We really, sort of the ultimate weapon for us in that setting was the Beastmaster feature. The fact that you're able to summon the power of nature, your animals, the bear tanks and the stealthy felines with you. So we were really excited to bring that feature in.
Was that something that came out of the animal play that was in Far Cry 4 specifically, or had this idea been sort of gestating for a long time?
Well, when we did research into the Stone Age, we sort of realized that the megafauna was a really important presence and something to sort of really put in the light, I guess, for our game. So we're like, okay, let's put that in the hands of the player. So that's kind of how it went with it. We really wanted to have the megafauna be a big part of the game.
Okay, cool. Take us into, the character that we're playing, Takar? Takar, yes. Take us into that character, that design, and some of the specific choices that you went into for giving us a protagonist that we were all going to care about.
Yeah, so Takar, he's part of the Wenja tribe. They're people that really believe in that everything has a spirit. They're very connected with nature, so they wear a lot of animal like hides, and they sort of have very earthy tones in their design. And Takar is when you start the game, as you're traveling with your tribe, you sort of get ambushed and everyone dies, and then you're sort of left on your own, and you're sort of living that moment with them. And as you get to the land of Oros, you sort of realize that you have all sorts of Wenja brothers that are scattered, and it's your job to sort of bring them all together. So we're really excited to have that, the player incarnate that journey in Takar.
And it is, a tribal type of experience. You do sort of collect allies and rescue them, and they rescue you along the way, and you're also fighting other tribes. But I think there's an ambiguity and a grayness to the conflicts that arise in this game because nobody had it all figured out back then. There's really no good and evil in Far Cry Primal in some ways, right?
Yeah, it's very much the first frontier of man. I mean, he was still struggling to climb on top of the food chain, so there was a lot of conflict. Everyone's just trying to survive.
Yeah.
And I guess the greatest conflict in that game is really man versus nature. Everything's trying to kill you. So it's really about that survival and really brutalness of that time period.
Talk to us about the tree, this sort of upgrade tree that you have in this game. What are players going to be sort of unlocking and discovering and wanting to kind of really sink their teeth into as they're playing the game?
So as you're playing through the game, Takar, you have a skill tree and different skills that you will unlock. And the way that you unlock those skills is that as you wander through the land of Oros, you meet different specialists from your tribe, the Wenja. So for example, you'll meet Tensei the shaman. He's the one who gives you the skills to unlock the beasts. And then you'll meet Karush the warrior skills, and so on. And as you bring them back to your village, you sort of help them with missions. And when you do those missions, you unlock those skills. And also if you upgrade their huts, you'll also be able to have access to more missions, therefore more skills. So it's really about sort of rebuilding your tribe, and as you rebuild it, you become stronger yourself.
And I think the animal connections that you have also make you, a force to be reckoned with. Is there a danger of it being a little unbalanced because of the sort of command you have over all of these animal predators? I mean, it's pretty amazing to send a tiger into combat for you. It's pretty incredible.
Yeah, actually, as at the beginning of the game, you really feel small. Everything is really difficult.
Yes.
And as you progress, yes, you'll gain a certain sense of control when you get access to the saber-toothed tiger and the honey badger, all those ultimate, like, sort of strong animals, and you really start to become the apex predator. That being said, there'll still be challenges for the player. I think we're going to include a different, like, difficulty settings for the more hardcore gamers that really want to bleed.
Yeah.
So yeah, there'll be all sorts of different play styles for different people.
You have a pretty amazing job to kind of, I guess, take the first crack at visualizing this universe for us in this game. Tell us about the different tribes and the different kind of character creations that you got to spend your time on and that players are going to get a chance to see.
Yeah, so each of the three tribes have their own very distinct look. As I said before, I talked a bit about the Wenja with their connection with the animals. So then you have the Udam, the enemy tribes, and they're loosely based on Neanderthals.
Mm-hmm.
They're the most primitive of the three tribes. They're very chaotic in what they wear. They try to instill fear in their opponents. They're big brutes, so they have a lot of blood on them. They have lots of bone, and it's all sort of chaotically like put together. And then you have the Izila, the other rival tribe, and they're the most advanced. They're actually starting to settle down. They're doing agriculture. They have a religion. They believe in like the stars, and they also believe in a sense of superiority to the other tribes. So they're actually enslaving the other tribes.
Right.
So they're all sort of have their own flavor.
And they also have a sacrifice pit or something. They have no compunction from wiping out whole other. It's like genocide in the game, almost in a way, right?
Yeah, actually, the Izila, they're led by this Queen Batari, their sort of matriarch.
Mm-hmm.
And she's kind of very arrogant and very mean. She was born under a solar eclipse, so she's kind of enjoyed like people worshipping her as like the descendant of their sun goddess Sukhli.
Yeah.
And you know, she presents herself as an icon of warmth and stuff to her own people, but really deep down she's a big tyrant and she's obsessed with like control and power. So because of that aggressiveness, they're really hitting the other tribes really hard.
Awesome. Now there's a level of verticality that we've been able to achieve in previous Far Cry games. We can't fly anything in this game. We don't have wingsuits and stuff. But you allow us to jump into the eyes of animals. I guess that was something that came through the design process. You wanted to still retain some verticality, but you had to go in a different direction.
Yeah, well, we have the owl that you can use for tagging enemies and that.
Mm-hmm.
But we really wanted to ground the player down to have that sense of scale, to be sort of amazed by it and sort of in awe.
Okay.
So, yeah. That's probably like part of the reason why we wanted the player to stay a bit more grounded. That being said, you'll still be able to ride animals like the mammoth, the bear, and the saber-tooth, so that'll be pretty fun.
Awesome. There are some mystical types of scenes that we've already seen. I've only played a few hours of this. Are we going to be jumping in time at all? Is there any kind of weird kind of twist or surprise that players should keep their radar dishes out for?
Well, Far Cry Primal is very much set in the Stone Age, so you'll be sticking around in the Stone Age time.
Okay, all right, cool.
Yeah, but you will be able to experience different vision quests that are very much more mystical in terms of experience.
Okay, cool. Now, in terms of the animal design and the creatures that you got to create, how much of that stuff was based on pre-established research, and how much is just your own artistic embellishment?
Well, we took research quite seriously. We looked at ancient skeletons and all that, but really we still had a room to play because we have their skeletons and stuff, but we didn't really know what they looked like really. Mm-hmm. So we really wanted to push scale, so we exaggerated that a bit, and even just the musculature and the canines, and made them a bit bigger than what they probably were, so that the player could really kind of be intimidated by those big beasts.
Cool. Did you stick to the rules of what was around in the Stone Age, or do we play with, like, are we going to see dinosaurs in this game, or is it pretty much what we would have seen in the Stone Age?
It's very much plausible to the Stone Age, so no, there will be no dinosaurs.
Okay. Gotcha. Now, you've obviously been working on this game very hard for a very long time. Tell us about your favorite moments and your favorite creations in the game. What are you proudest of?
I'm actually quite proud of having done Tensei, the shaman character. I think he was one of my favorite ones to work on in terms of design. He's a lot more, he's one of the crazier ones, you know, with his visions, and he also has that mystical element to him that I like quite a lot. So I think Tensei, the shaman, was my favorite part.
This is a different kind of game in many ways for Far Cry, but one of the ways that Blake actually pointed out is that there's less tendency towards humor, even dark kind of humor that we've seen with especially the villains in the last couple of Far Cry games. Is there humor in this title?
Yes, there are some things that I don't really want to go into detail with, but you'll definitely have some nice humorous surprises if you play a bit more of Far Cry Primal.
Well, thank you for the many surprises in this game, and thank you for this interview, and I can't wait to get the full game and lose myself in Far Cry Primal.
Awesome.